What up, my freaks? Ruinous Insight here with part 33 and the very last part of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Taurox the Brass Bull campaign. Now, this is the finale episode, so for those unaware, these do tend to be a little bit different than the general or the regular episodes. The way that I do these is generally with a lot of editing and a lot of battles. The way it's gonna go is the admin will be all off screen and we're just going to jump more or less from battle to battle as we look for different things to do. I mean, maybe we'll end a turn here and there just to see if anything interesting happens, but otherwise there's going to be much more edits. The goals: since we've destroyed Reichland and since we've destroyed Kurun, we just have to take the Oak of Ages and fight the final battle, the Fall of Man. For as far as I can make it happen, or to the best of my ability, that's the words, I will try to get a final battle for most of our armies and try to get at least one final fun fight for everybody who matters, every army who matters. Like Ungrim versus Sidhu, hopefully he doesn't run, but well, we will see. Anyway, the first thing we're going to do is probably the final battle for Khazur. Damn, he can't actually reach this guy. Wait, could it be a bug? Huh, I could have sworn he could have reached him last episode. Man, is it maybe when I reload the game that it no longer lets me do that? Well, that's a shame, but maybe we can still fight him. Go into hidden encampment right outside Fort Oberstyre, and let's assume that he's coming up here and doesn't see ya. Maybe we'll still be able to get him, just not this turn. Anyway, let's end the turn real quick, and then we'll see if anybody attacks us, but otherwise we'll be making cuts, so let's do it. And there's a lot of moves and stuff that'll be happening, but those will, generally speaking, be off-screen, as we've got a fair few battles, big battles, to fight for this finale. Now, Karakadrin will not attack us. Ooh, hello. Well, I wasn't expecting this. We got Thoric Ironbrow and another full Dwarfen stack. Interesting, very interesting indeed. Clan Septic wants a defensive alliance, but we don't care about that right now. I'm sorely tempted to fight this. To fight the dwarfs here. Might be a pretty fun time. So what are we looking at here? The Castle Quinnell does have its walls with the one unit, but we could just ignore all this and hit Thoric outside. I would wonder whether he'd run or not. I mean, if he'd run, we could just ignore it, or we could just ambush him outside the settlement. We gotta head into Athelloren anyway, after all. Maybe something to do. What do we have here? Ah, yes, now we get bonus speed to all units. I figured if we're heading into Athelloren, we need all the speed on everybody we can get, so we got that buff. And we will take, let's say, charge bonus when attacking plus 20%. And finally now getting to pay for these more expensive ones. Yeah, obviously we won't be able to get them all, or nearly all of them, but that's okay. Thorak, it's time to go to war. You are allied with South Confederacy and Miragliano, but that hardly matters to us. So let's go into... probably not Rampage. I'll just go for Ruination stance. Let's attack him, and let's see if he runs. And if he runs, we'll just ignore him. No! Because we don't really care about him. And he will indeed run, so we'll auto-resolve Castle Quinnell and then head inward. I also see one of the units, or one of the armies that was here ran away. Curious. Do we bother setting up a herdstone here? No, I think if we set one up, we'll set one up in one of the Athelloren trees. Go ahead and destroy this. Also give the Blasted Standard to the Butchers of Kalkengard, as they do tend to be in the vanguard. And we will give, let's say, one of the Bulgors the magical damage. Or would it perhaps be better on one of the Gorgons? Nah, it doesn't really matter. Anyway, auto-resolve this is going to be a little bit of damage. A Wailing Banner that we don't care about, we will raise and advance. No, don't go that way. Where are you going, Taurox? And damn, I was hoping that would complete our rampage. We need to hit one more enemy. Alright, Thoric, you're it. We're not going to bother fighting him with basically nothing left in his army. It's not worth our time. Ooh, did I just see Orion over there? Wait, auto-resolve this. This is gonna damage us. Oh my lord, that shouldn't have damaged us nearly that much. Oh no. Well, we've got ourselves an interesting time. Ryan will probably attack us while we're heavily damaged. But oh well, at least we got the defeat trait. You also have now replenish movement, but that doesn't really help us when we're so badly hurt. Start moving this way. The tree is right there. And we're nearly there. Oh, I guess we can... Huh. I wonder. Well, Orion wouldn't be able to reach it immediately. What do we have in terms of defenses there? We could fight it. I mean... There's basically nothing there, but we wouldn't be able to auto-resolve it. But nonetheless, let us take the ward save. We're certainly going to need it. There's no missile resistance by like 30%, is there now? A ward save. We'll go for the replenish, and we're going to head on in. Get that victory right now. And this, does this cover all of Athel-Loren? I feel like it should be a special one that covers the entirety of Athel-Loren, the Oak of Ages, I mean. But it's okay. We're gonna head in, we're gonna try our best not to lose any units. There's really not anything crazy looking here. And yeah, we'll have to fight this. Alright, it'll be a tiny little cinematic battle, but a cinematic battle nonetheless. Go. Alright, starting off real easy this time, but hey, we are heavily damaged and it's the Oak of Ages. We got to take the Oak of Ages, so I guess we got to see the battle. I do wish that they had added a special battlefield for the Oak. It's a little weird that it uses the same exact map as all the other trees, but oh well. And damn, Taurox works that barricade very fast considering it has 5,000 HP, but I guess... what doesn't Taurox work through quickly, so hardly surprising. Anyway, I've decided that since our army is hurt, we're going to do two things. We're going to keep most of the bully boys all back, just send in the mages and Taurox, the butchers of Kalkengard, and then all three of our Gorgons. Now, the Gorgons are also hurt, but they have regeneration and are single entities and should be able to heal back their HP, whereas the bulls are all limited by the number of models they have in terms of healing. And this should be fine. At least in theory it should be fine. Plus, I mean, I think, make an offhand comment in a previous battle that I thought that some battle the Gorgons could have just taken care of themselves. And well, to some degree we can see that here. Although Taurox is obviously in it, good luck anybody telling Taurox to stay out of the fight. And especially once he wants to do his role to win. And there we go, we use Devolve, we use Flock of Doom, and we keep on hitting everything with Taurox and with our Gorgons. Balance of power is already about 70% in our favor, and it's going only to get worse from here. A unit of the Sisters of the Thorn is nearby. Gotta be careful about those, as they are quite annoying with that toxic venom that they have, but they won't be annoying for long either, as the Gorbulls and the Gorgons move in and rip them all apart. Good. With those down, we head our way up the hill to whatever remains of this tiny little enemy army. And just a soft start to this particular finale episode. We're going to have tons and tons of battles here. And maybe we can just get bigger and bigger battles as we go, so we gotta start with the smallest one. Anyway, looks like some Knights of the Realm via an outpost were here to try to help out. As to the degree they will help out, that remains to be seen, as the anti-large of all of our Gorgons is going to absolutely menace them. They will pop the Shield of Thorns to try to reflect some damage, but I sincerely doubt that matters all that much to the Gorgons. We are also going to do something as well. We're going to pop a Vissen's Wild Form to increase both the armor and the weapon strength of all of our Gorgons and our Gorbulls. And frankly, the battle is nearly ours. Anyway, Taurox moving up to a platform where there are some Dryads and some Glade Guard by the looks of it. Just gonna whack away at whatever he can, or roll away with whatever he can. The Knights of the Realm are out and pretty much broken. Taurox is just waiting to cleave his way through his enemies, and he's got 70 kills racked up and 10k damage. Not too bad. The rest of the enemy units probably won't be holding for too much longer. Taurox's presence has destroyed the enemy barricade. He's going to pop that Bloodbeast, which is what I was waiting for, and knock those enemy units away and continue to dish out damage. Mountspire is about 90% in our favor now. There is the enemy Glade Lord sighted, one of our Gorgons, Ruse. The Aurochs has made his way forward as well, and here come the rest. You gotta love that mass. Doesn't care about the existence of those Glade Guard, just to run on right through them. And there's that Glade Lord. If Taurox is busy, we can have one of the Gorgons kill it. There's Taurox. Where were you, buddy? Getting distracted killing things. Anyway, with that, I do believe the battle is completely ours. Just like that, the Oak of Ages, basically undefended, breaks. Alright, easing our way into it in such a way that the auto-resolve does not screw us over. Plus, it's the Oak of Ages. We had to fight that one, didn't we? Would have been wrong not to do so. And on top of that, that essentially allowed us to make use of the regeneration on our Gorgons to heal them all effectively to full HP. The bully boys do still need healing, but that's okay. They will heal up. And there we are, the Oak of Ages is ours, another Trickster's Helm, and long victory achieved. Now we just need to fight the Fall of Man, and we can do so whenever we damn well please. Now what does this give us? 20% campaign movement? Oh, that's in province. I thought it was faction-wide. Melee attack when fighting Wood Elves faction-wide, that'll certainly help, and missile resistance for all units faction-wide, and that'll help as well. All of which are quite nice. I do wish it had a better garrison, a stronger garrison than other places, but whatever. Let's make sure we plague it up, shall we? Like so. I'm almost tempted to build the Slaneshi one, but Vigor Battle loss, that's fine. It's fine. And there we go. Taurox, we will see if anybody will or even can attack you. They may not be able to, and we'll just pick and choose maybe one, maybe two of these that we attack with Taurox. Probably one with Taurox and another with another lord. Now, let's see about other potential fights. Morgar, you are still looking. I think you just give up on these and go north to Prague or through these territories in the hopes of actually finding a proper fight. Go here. And Elena of the Icepen, doesn't look like anybody's at Prague. They've got to be somewhere, damn it. Morgar needs a finale. Oh, game, why are you being like this? Let's see, Scalpite is over here, but we can head you to Guel'Khazar. Ooh, actually, can we head you to Guel'Khazar? Because you might be able to ambush us. Yeah, but we could probably escape. It's just a pile of Skaven slaves. So we probably don't care. You are actually headed to this army. You do need to join, and I guess you are indeed going to try to go to Guel'Khazar. It looks like you can just reach it. I hope that I'm not wrong about this, but honestly, if this guy dies carrying these troops, I honestly don't really care. Alright, can you... It looks like they're in range of each other. Let's hope so. Alrighty, Kazrak. Are you near that Tomb King army? No, it's backed away. Well, it may have backed away, but that don't mean we won't give chase. I guess we could just ignore Balthazar Gelt. Can he destroy this place? Probably not with this army. Can't go very far. Alright, fine. Just start moving. Like so. I don't think we want to waste... Well, you know what? Destroy Gelt. Just a real quick auto-resolve. Maybe with us being damaged, the Tomb King army will actually move towards us. The possibility exists. You're gonna go into raiding stance. Tomb King can't reach you anyway. Maybe seeing you, they will go here. But otherwise, Kazrak is the one I'm least worried about in the sense that we've got some pretty good final battles for him already. Malagor, I do see a little tiny Skaven Slave stack, which we can probably destroy. I'd like to head you over to Skavenblight, I think, for your finale. It's either that or the Red Duke, but honestly, I don't think it'll make much of a difference either way. The Red Duke might be a more fun fight, because I do love fighting the vast hordes of undead, just to see how much damage we can deal with Malagor, and there isn't anybody guarding Skavenblight. If Icket was there with a full stack, then yes, but like this, probably not. I would like you, however, to destroy this little army, and just so that it doesn't immediately retake Durango. And then you can maybe jump over to the Silent Isle and destroy Museo. Alright, and it's an ambush on top of that. Beautiful. Razor Standard and one of the Harpies. Buff them up. And you have armor. Also on the Harpies. Buff them up even further. Auto-resolve that. I'm sure we'll take a little bit of damage here, especially to our giants, but, well, we're used to it. And we will get the Bestial Rage. How close? Oh, we're already in Durango, eh? You know what? Here's what we'll do. We're gonna pop you into Hidden Encampment, we're gonna move here, and we're gonna take the time to rebuild that element. Well, actually, we don't need you to do it, do we? Oh, actually, no, we do need you to do it. Alright, fine. Rebuild the element. I know, but I'll just have it in the one final fight that we won't auto-resolve. As far as I'm concerned, Malagor already got some insane battles underway. Aberku, you want to head to Verdenza. You know what? Let's give Wulfric a chance to build up a little bit more. So we'll take this place, and we'll let him build up, and then we'll hit him over the next 2 turns with our Wargor. And right, this garbage. Alright, well, I'm going to cut this out. Alright, there we go, all administration complete, all unnecessary moves made, or necessary but boring moves made, and we are ready for the final battle of the Nurgle / Pestigor / Chosen Pestigor army against the Slayer King himself, Ungrim Ironfist. Pretty interesting matchup here, high damage dealing. It's almost like matching Slaanesh versus Nurgle in this particular case, as obviously the enemy Slayers will have higher vulnerable but highly damage-dealing glass cannons, whereas we are highly resistant to everything between all that bolstered armor, that massive physical resistance, decent armor, shielding, and poison, all combined. Should be a pretty good time, and the Slayer King, I'm sure, will prove to be a heck of an opponent as he's difficult to kill. Away we go. Alrighty, here we are, the final battle of the Nurgle army, and who better to give them a proper send-off than the Slayer King, Ungrim Ironfist himself, and he's brought Sonny Garagrim along as well to his doom. I suppose that's the mark of a good father for a Slayer, sharing the doom. A good family dooms together, dies together. I don't know. Anyway, now we did deploy several of our Pestigors over in this corner, and immediately they run out. Fortunately for us, the enemy had a bunch of range units here, and we immediately engage 1 unit of Thunderers and 2 units of Quarrelers. 2 units, rather, of Quarrelers. Slayers here in a one-on-one versus some Pestigors, specifically the Nurgle's Chosen Sheeple, are getting absolutely wrecked here, which is nice to see. Well done to those Pestigors. It looks like it's a pretty darn solid matchup for them. Our other Pestigors, we deployed 4 in the corner and then 4 here, are going to head down towards whatever enemy units they can distract, while our Doggos deployed in the woods out here are going to loop around and get ready to go after the enemy artillery and any other enemy range units that we need to engage. There is also a unit of Iron Drakes with Trollhammer torpedoes, which we should be very wary of, unless they kill off a Wargor or a Lord or Mage or one of the Jabber Slights, so we need to rush towards said Trollhammers and make sure that they stop firing. There we go, both Jabber Slights just sort of jump over the battlefield and are in on those torpedoes. No thank you. No more of that. Technically, we probably could have just sent one Jabberslight, but sure, and we'll be okay. Doggos are getting ready to move in as well, but otherwise the battle lines are engaged. And now it's a simple matter of outlasting the enemy while we dish out additional damage via spellwork, via the Jabberslight effects, and via our doggos menacing the enemy in the background. Out here it looks like the enemy slayers have pretty much been destroyed, in fact completely been destroyed. We switch to the Thunderers and the Quarrelers and Miners now, and we'll back up any other units by forcing some morale shocks by hitting enemies in the back and flanks. We are now converging in the center of the enemy formation, which is having a pretty bad time of it in general, down to about 65% balance of power in our favor. Some Slayers fighting, and Ungrim is in here somewhere as well, and he's going to be very difficult to bring down, but that's why we're going to completely ignore him. There's a Thane here, a Runesmith there, there's Ungrim running around completely ignored. I believe Garagrim is leading some units out here as well. And he's a pretty darn decent hero. And the corroded armor is probably completely wasted on him. And on Slayers in general, with the exception of Ungrim, who is a heavy armor, and despite being a Slayer. Alright, and it looks like the units in the corner are pretty much dead. One of our Jabberslights has jumped a little bit too far. We still have Slayers to slay. But we're certainly working on it. And working on it fairly effectively, I should say. Here comes the Jabberslight, they're just jumping around. The Jabberslights always seem like they're having such a great time. Just bounding around all over the battlefield. Alrighty, and a few more Slayers to bring down. The rest of the enemy army has shattered, so we're just working on the Unbreakables now. Garagrim right here completely surrounded by Wargors. Granted, they're on their chariots, but it should still be sufficient to dish out decent amounts of damage, especially as he is unarmored. As well, he's poisoned, he's got Devolve on him. And Devolve upgraded is a 21% physical resistance, which is pretty darn decent. Alright, a couple more hits. Who's gonna get the kill? Can't quite see him as he's in the dark, unfortunately, unlike the rest of his army, but down he goes amidst the trees. Now we turn to Mr. Ungrim, who's fighting by himself. The rest of his army is destroyed, and we can peel away by and large from Ungrim and make sure that units that are actually liable to damage him actually get into the fray with him. He's got 154 melee attack and plenty of damage. Well, let's see how the Doggos and the two Jabberslights handle him, though frankly, we can't really see him because of the dark. Might be better to watch the rest of this like this, just so that we know where exactly he is. Oh, there we go, we can sort of see him like that. I think when he's lit up by Devolve like that, we can at least tell where his model is, unless the Jabberslights completely screw it over. And then we lose sight of him because of it again. I think he's right there somewhere. Yeah, he is. Alright, well, he's very hard to spot, and he's very hard to bring down, but I think that part isn't particularly interesting, so we can just speed up through the rest of this. I'll watch them all whack away at him for another minute or two. And he will slowly lose his HP and finally go down. There we go. The Slayer King falls, and so does his army fall as well. He's brought them all to their doom. Alrighty, there we go, and so falls the Slayer King. Neither the glass cannon Slayers nor the heavy armor of the dwarfs was able to stop the relentless advance of the Pestigors. Very nice, and other than the Jabberwock getting damaged by Ungrim and a little bit of damage on the Wargors from Garagrim, we did pretty darn okay. Enemy army completely collapsed and got wrecked by those Pestigors. And very nice, we won't be seeing you again, Warhorns of Morsleep, Nurgle's Chosen Sheeple, and the Jabberwock and Little Mess Drakwold. Well done to every one of you. Alright, and I guess we'll raise a Herdstone here, mostly because we're just going to wait here. Oh right, and the defeated trait for Ungrim is pretty fantastic. Lots of buffs. Could use that, or could have used that on Taurox. It would have been nice. While we run around, these guys might actually recover an army, but we're probably not going to bother moving those guys again. Anyway, there's turns to end and more admin to do, but another cut will see us to the next battle. Alright, here we are. We have arrived at the next battle, and while we were waiting for the Wargor to join this army, the Wargor is more of a sort of army helper with the healing and all the other stuff, and doesn't really do too much for this army itself, or at least not so much that we need to wait for it. We have Wargors everywhere, and I've been fairly obsessed with them throughout this campaign, so I think we're just gonna have to finish Wulfric the Wanderer off with this army. As it is, he has his stack and whatever he has in Medina, but there's nothing else close by, and we're going to take him out here and now. Pyrrhic victory, apparently. I sincerely doubt that, but who knows? It is Wulfric again after all, and last, I think, 2 times we got him, we were ambushing him, whereas this time we won't be, and he doesn't have those trolls anymore, which failed so spectacularly last time. Anyway, last fight for the army of Tzeentch, and we even got to keep the Ungors in there as well, which is nice, since I was going to delete them, but at least this way they made it all the way to the end. Alright, here we go again. One last time for the Tzeentch army. They have had a little bit of a rivalry throughout the campaign with Wulfric and with the Slaaneshi army, or Slaaneshi faction nearby. And it's time to make sure that rivalry dies with them. First of all is Wulfric on the menu as he gets stopped in his tracks and gets sniped and obliterated by our units of Chosen Sangors, who also managed to take out one of the Marauders. We also have our Centaurs with throwing axes sort of running around and annoying the enemy Marauder Horsemen of Slaanesh and Marauder Horsemen in general, waiting for them to either get annoyed enough to try to charge us, or getting a nice little duel. Now it's time to hit those Marauder horses, and there we go, the Cygors and the Tsangors. And it's a bad day for the Marauder Horsemen by the looks of it, as those hits manage to take them below half HP and force them to break. We are still hitting the enemy army, but it doesn't look like they really know what to do. Oh, they are under fire by artillery, they're under fire by range units, and on top of that, our units are much faster than theirs are. So even if they do go for us, we simply back off to the hill and to a better position. But it looks like the anthill has been kicked and the Norskins are finally charging towards us. Our Cygors are all the way up on top of this big old hill with this little fort or tower around here, and the Ungor Raiders here as well, because I really didn't feel like babysitting them with the Tsangors. Otherwise, we can still get a few more volleys on the enemy as they move up. And once again, still surprised by the relative effectiveness of this ranged army. Still working decently well. And just the idea of a Beastmen ranged army seems silly, but hey, if it works, it works. Alright, well, away we go up the hill to where we take once again good position. We do have the covering fire of our units. We also moved in with a Tormentor sword and stopped a decent amount of the enemy army in its place. So, well, we got a few more shots off on them and allowed more of our units to escape. Now we're going to try to snipe and focus down individual units like these Marauders with great weapons, and whatever other units we want to target that seem susceptible and or weak. There we go. They have a long way to go. They have to make their way up this hill, only to engage our Tsangors, which can certainly still fight in melee. Alright, defending the hill, the Ungors are probably completely safe as the enemy has to get through a fair amount of units. We could have probably moved the Cygors down here to actually act as the melee, but honestly, it's not looking like it's all that needed here. The balance of power at about 70% in our favor, fighting on the flanks over here in melee though. So we do have to be careful about that at least, and have to be careful about taking hits from our own units and damaging our archers fighting in melee too heavily. Although it looks like it won't be a concern for too much longer. An enemy Fimir Lord tries to move in and is about to get hit by blinding light and will pretty much die. That volley nearly killed it. One more. And this was a reinforcing Lord. And there we go. With that, the Fimir falls, and that morale shock will be enough to see the entire battle become ours. Over on this side, we did have the Centaurs doing a little bit of fighting with the Marauder horses. And it looks like they came out ahead, though they did take a little bit of damage for their trouble, but otherwise, that worked out extremely effectively. Though I do have to at least in part give it up to this this position, which is really, really good. Even if the enemy army was stronger, they still would have had to make their way up this hill, and we still had this impassable terrain and the cliffside protecting us here. Alrighty, and so it ends for Wulfric. Not with a bang, not with a whimper, but with a gigantic pile of arrows straight to the face. Wulfric achieved absolutely nothing, getting sniped by those chosen Sangors, and otherwise his army got wrecked as well. A little bit of damage on some of our Centaurs with throwing axes, but hey, they got to fight in melee against enemy Marauder horsemen with throwing axes, so that was pretty cool for them, in my opinion. The Cygors, they did pretty darn well. 31k, nearly 32, 24k on you, 11, 22k on the Ruinous Gore, and 18k on the One-Eye Army. How about the Hexhorn Sages of Savagery, Riddle Bleaters? You guys got 16k, 22k, and 21k damage, and plenty of kills. Very well done to you. We will not be seeing Wulfric again, or if we are, we will not be bothering to fight him. Raise in advance to heal up, but for now, just sit here in this location, as you will not be needed to fight again. Alright, nice little final fight for you, sir. And funnily enough, the Wargor will be able to join you there. Alright, that looks good to me. Let us make another cut and head to our next battle. Not sure what it is, but I'm sure it'll be fun. Alright, we're back and we're ready for a little bit more action. Now, if there's one thing I learned in the Grimgor campaign, it's that Athalloran is a little bit boring. Every single battle in here is exactly the same because there's no difference in the tree areas. And I have no intention of fighting every single one of these trees. What we're going to do is we're going to have Taurox hit the hardest target in here, and just to demonstrate his superiority, but not going to bother raising every single tree, because frankly, 90% of them would be auto-resolvable anyway, especially the ones that don't have 2 stacks. Now, the hardest target by the looks of it is not Volzanvil, because that was the one that was a ruin previously, but rather it will be you, the Crags of Findal with nearly 2 stacks, as well as the defenders. Waterfall Palace would be a little bit tougher because it's a tier 4, but there isn't enough enemy armies to defend it here. Before David Hasselhoff Hasselhoof was outside of Tel Esth, and Durthu just ran away rather than trying to defend it. He does have a lot of little mini stacks, but they're not together, and I'm still going to hopefully get a good battle for David Hasselhoof, but we'll see where. For Taurox, his last battle in Athaloran will be in the Crags of Findal, and then we'll save his final battle for the final battle of the campaign, the Fall of Man. I probably should have leveled up all the... Oh my lord. Alright, I forgot to... It's been a while. He hasn't had anything that's challenged him in my defense, so yeah, that's why I didn't level these guys all that much. Tough as nails, esteemed combatant will be useless to us, and yes, this is sort of a mini, but I don't care. Let's just get Gouge Tusks for you. Thick-skinned versus devastating charge. Your charge isn't actually as big as I thought it would be. But you could always use more armor, especially against all those elves. And oh, I lied. I didn't see you didn't have Deadly Blade. Gouge Tusks, tough as nails, obviously Woundmaker. And we get 2 points remaining on, I guess, thick-skinned. Alright, that's one. Let's do the rest. Tough as nails, thick-skinned... Oh, no, I lied. Deadly Blade. I did it again. Gouge Tusks, 2 in thick-skinned, and 3 in Woundmaker. Alright, let's see if I can remember the other one. The last one. You, sir. Tough as nails, 2 in thick-skinned, 2 in Gouge Tusks, 2 in Deadly Blade, and 3 in Woundmaker. And, wait, did I miss Unnatural Thirst with you? Well, you know what? I don't care. I guess this guy will need an extra point, and we'll do that for the final battle. You can max out Flock of Doom. We could get Onslaught here, but Curse of Anra here could be quite useful because of the accuracy reduction, so I think we'll get that. And then our Brave Shaman of Wild. Don't really need Brave Scream or Savage Dominion specifically for Taurox's army. Do we just buff up Onslaught? Or we could reduce your cooldowns. Honestly, I don't think it matters either way. Let's get Onslaught. Why not? Why not? Plus, I love watching this army fight, so we don't necessarily need to destroy the enemy via spell work specifically, so let's do that. And then Taurox, you have a few levels yourself. And, oh right, I keep forgetting, you've been fighting this entire campaign with basically no points in your fighty tree. We just added one, so you're gonna get even more obnoxiously strong. Banquet of Flesh up to 150 charge. Prized Horns for the melee defense, I guess. Honestly, it doesn't... Oh, wow. 30% HP? That's crazy. 12k HP and double regen. Man. Savage Beast, Prize Horns. Oh, there's some good stuff in here. Hopefully we'll have it for the final battle, but for now, we have the battle at the Crags of Findal. Declare war on their allies. We just don't care.
Imprudent.
Let's see what these 3 Wood Elf stacks can do to stack up against Taurox. There's gonna be a lot of arrows flying. I've learned the hard way in the Grimgor campaign that can be devastating, even if it's most of them are just the level, the tier 2 archers. That's still a hell of a lot of archers and poison archers as well, slowing us down and just constantly annoying us. Also, unlike Grimgor's Black Orcs, we have very low armor, relatively low armor on all of our bull units, which should be equally concerning, or more concerning than that of the Black Orcs. Anyway, here we go, Taurox, the big fight for the Crag of Findal. Crag Halls. Yes. Alrighty, time for Taurox to take a proper target out of Athaloran at last. He will Vanguard deploy and charge forward heedless of anything that will stand in his way and go directly for those Treekin, which are so resistant to damage, and we want to bring them down so they don't block the rest of our army. Speaking of the rest of our army, just briefly, we've essentially separated into two or but sort of three separate units. So these guys and these guys are two, and they can either head both here or maybe one this way and then one up this ramp, while Taurox's blob heads up this ramp. It's roughly evenly spread out, where we have a Gorbel and a Gorgon on one of each of these three places, and a decent spread of the various other type of bull units. Anyway, Taurox finally makes his way through those Treekin, ignoring them, and now, wow, did you just bring down 2 Treekin? Very well done, Bloodbrute. And that allows us to make our way into the enemy settlement. Taurox, however, will be ignoring them by and large and heading directly for that enemy Glade Lord, while our army over on the side starts to make their way in as well. Just had to make sure that we distracted the enemy as much as we could. And there we go, you best be running from Taurox, but at 145 speed, even Taurox ain't catching you. What he can do is either wait until that unit is ready to fight, or annoy some stuff and maybe catch that unit while it's distracted. Sometimes even the units that should be kiting just stop for some reason. Never trust skirmish mode after all. And yeah, Taurox, I fear that you're going to be running around chasing a lot. Now out here, it looks like we've got the rest of our army moving in as well. Those damn Hawk Riders hovering overhead, but they have taken half of their damage. Well, not the Dryads. Okay, they've actually only taken a quarter of their damage, but still have taken some damage due to the spells we've dropped, and the Curse of Anarchir is at the very least hopefully crippling their accuracy and their ability to destroy single target units. Or at least I hope it is. I do wonder the degree to which the accuracy reduction affects their ability to hit to the broadside of a beefy barn, i.e. a Gorgon. And the answer is I'm not sure. Anyway, over on the other side, we have all of our other units embroiled in a fight, but these guys are fighting lots and lots of melee units. More Treekin on this side, as well as some Sisters of the Thorn and plenty of Blade Guard, but it's a simple matter of working through them faster than the enemy kills us with range units. At the end of the day, Taurox's army has a pretty simple equation before it, and we just gotta make sure that we support these guys, as that is a lot of arrow fire, so Pan's Impenetrable Pelt will give them 21 missile and 21 damage resistance in general, helping them both against the arrow fire and against the melee attacks. Alright, some brave Glade Guard. I mean, they do still have those Treekin among them, who they think perhaps can hold off the Minotaurs, though I have my doubts about that. Taurox has left the other Glade Lord alone, and actually found another Glade Lord that's on foot. Well, that works for us, because this Glade Lord ain't escaping Taurox and will thus get destroyed relatively quickly. Alright. There we go, Taurox probably annoyed at the other Lord constantly running away from him. Now, we've completed our way up the ramp and made it all the way up here, where we're going to drop a devolve and continue to try to get towards the center of the enemy line, or at least past rather, all of these Dryads towards the enemy range units. And how's that Bloodbrute looking? Now, still good in terms of HP. That's a lot of Dryads, and I see that the enemy range units are trying to focus the Bloodbrute down for towering over the rest of the enemy formation, but it looks like it's not working super well as yet. A Flock of Doom comes down in this big blob of Dryads, and a Vile Tide will follow suit. And a second Vile Tide. Wait, was that 2 Vile Tides? Wait, 1 Vile Tide? No. I think, yes, it was 2 Vile Tides. One was from a spell and one was from a bound ability. And it certainly cleared plenty of Dryads and allowed our various cowmen to move forward. Alright, we are very well up this ramp over on this side. We've made it through the barricades and are now engaged with the rest of the enemy range and melee units alike. And the battle appears to be going fairly well on both sides of the map. Tactically, now that we're engaged, there isn't too much to say. There's not a lot of flanking or anything of that nature that goes on in these particular battles, because you just hit up the ramps and then you kill until you win. Though once again, making the comparison with the way that Grimgor had to fight Athalorn, I do think that this is a lot more effective due to the reasonably higher speed of the various Minotaurs. I mean, granted, I built the Grimgor's army specifically to not use speedy units, because I thought that it would make certain battles more tough, and it certainly did. And especially the Wood Elves with their constant running away. Chasing them down with slower Black Orcs was the issue, but it wouldn't quite work against the Bullman. Anyway, looks like the Blood Brute is now down to about half of its HP. It hasn't reached its healing cap, so it will continue to heal, but we do need to watch out for that. Gorgon Ramsey has also peeled away as he has found 2 or 3 units of Glade Guard, and wants to make sure that they don't continue firing. There we go. Lots of spins to win, and I'm sure at least a few more before the battle is over. The balance of power is about 80, just under 80% in our favor. We are also moving into the central enemy location, and the rightmost flank units have moved all the way up the ramp. So, the enemy range units that are still firing at us, annoyingly I might add, are about to get hit in the back by the new arrivals from the other side. Now, this must be a pretty horrifying sight. You're defending your, well, they're defending the tree, and they thought the enemy was coming from this side, and seeing this, they must realize that all of their friends failed and are dead, and they're about to get hit from both sides by all of these Minotaurs. Alrighty, now that these units have ended, there we go. As soon as the new units arrived, as soon as they made their way into the back line of the enemy, the rest of the army shattered, and the battle is ours. A heroic victory again. Once again, the game making a liar out of me, as I said that it was unlikely that Taurox would get any more heroic victories, but hey, here's another one. Alrighty, there you have it, folks, a heroic victory as we absolutely obliterate all the Vidrioth elves, minus the army that was outside, but they ran off, and maybe I should have chased them down, and I wonder if this is a bug, if this is the bug, or whether Taurox actually did level up to 50. We're about to find out, I guess. Sometimes it's a bug, but for Grimgor it actually happened during one of these Wood Elven attacks, so I have no idea. Either way, we are looking good here. How much is this worth to be destroyed? 10,000 for Luden and Raisin. Ain't too bad, we'll take it. We'll take it as it'll enable us to get another research going, and it was a bug. He only got 1 level out of that. But oh well. We got what we wanted, and we will go into Juggernaut raiding and return to the Oak of Ages to make sure that nobody attacks it. Though I sincerely doubt anybody would have been capable of doing so anyway. Yeah, so basically, if that was the hardest target and we barely took any damage, in fact most of our units started with 1 unit dead, and basically lost few to any. There's nothing here that's of challenge to us, so effectively we've already won. I mean, we've already gotten the long victory, so yes, we've already won. Taurox, you don't need to bother with the rest of these things. We will, however, send the Cornate Force in to have some fun in one of these locations, also perform the ritual. I feel like you should get something special for performing the, a Herdstone ritual at the Oak of Ages. Malagor, or Morgor rather, should do a dance number because he's so happy about it. We got a tech. Is there something that we can get that we actually care about here? I never unlocked all of these, but frankly, ooh, buffs for Gors, I don't care. And the Centaur buff isn't bad, we're not going to take 4 turns to research that. Campaign will be over before then. Regen for Manticores is fantastic, but we don't have enough Manticores to worry about that. Same with the piles of Jabberslaves. So no, regen for Jabberslaves. Yeah, that would be quite nice if we, you know, had many Jabberslaves. Missile resistance for Gorgons and Giants and Incarnate Element. Yeah, I think we gotta go with that. Or speed. Weapon strength and missile resistance, or speed and physical resistance. Though this is unfortunate, why would this leave out the incarnate elemental of beasts? Well, that's a shame. Or we could just buff up the Minotaurs, but frankly, do they really need any more buffs? Somehow I have my doubts. I gotta go with the speed. Especially since we don't have Vanguard deployment on these guys. They move at 75 hours. Actually, they're... Wait. Oh, the Gorgons are actually faster already than the Bulls, but the Bulls Vanguard deploy, whereas the Gorgons don't. Maybe the missile resistance is the way to go. Alright, well, then again, physical resistance will act for most things, because most things will be doing magical damage. No, you know what, nonetheless, I'm gonna go for physical resistance. Or the Rewards of Ruin. Plus, I like the name. Go figure. Anyway. With that, I do believe, well, there may be other moves to make, but we'll make another cut, and we'll head to the next final battle. I think there's 3 battles left before we do the Fall of Man, but let's see. Alright, and we're back, and I would say some important decisions / discoveries have been made here. First of all, David Hasselhoof rather, and the Khornate army will be facing off against Durthu for their final battle. That is the decision for that. Next, look who Morgur finally found. Sitting in Prague is Tsarina Katrin with her army, so we've got the final battle for Morgur nearly set up. Next, or perhaps, wait, that's last. So these 3 and then the Fall of Man. 4 actually. The Slaanesh army is heading here to the High Elves, as well they should. And lastly, I've decided that Malagor will go for Skaven Blight rather than the Red Duke. I checked this out briefly just to make sure, and these armies are actually made up of skeletons and zombies, so they're not worth going after. It would just be pathetically easy, and frankly, Malagor could probably kill them all by himself without much trouble. I'm hoping that it gets full stack would head to Skaven Blight, and Malagor will have to face off against all of this here together. That would be just great, but the final battles are set up, folks. Let's get started. And David Hasselhoof, it's your time to shine. Can you face off against Durthu with your Khornate forces and win / survive? Away we go. Alrighty, the final battle for the Khornate army. Away we go, and it's Durthu that stands against us. Who better to match the rage of the ancient tree man than the even more ancient, the ancienter, the timeless rage of the blood god himself. Away we go, the Moomen will head towards the barricade, while the Khorngors will bring up the rear, as they are a little bit slower. Although, by the looks of it, they're still running pretty darn quick. Bully Breakherd, Gorgors, etc., they're at 56 speed. So they're okay. I mean, they're like half as fast as the Slangors. Well, maybe not half as fast, but like 80% as fast, so yeah. Or 70%. Either way, they are in it now. Unfortunately, the enemy barricade went down fairly quickly. Durthu's hanging around there, but not yet in combat. We've also peeled away even more Khorngors over this side, and at least here they are in the light, so we can watch them and get to work. I'm bringing down whatever it is that stands against them. I see some mounted yeomen. This is not a place that you want to be at. And the sort of half armor, like chosen like half armor that the Khorngors have, it looks quite nice. How much armor do they have again? 100? 140 plus 40 from Wiston's Wild Farm, so yeah, 100 armor. And there we go, chasing off some enemy units of mounted yeomen, but we have engaged the enemy in melee in various places as well, which is why we're here. Though I'm sure the Coronate units are at least somewhat annoyed about constantly getting arrows in the face from the ranged, focused, cowardly Wood Elves. At least some of the units, like these Wildwood Rangers, are brave enough, and the Wildwood Rangers brought big ol' glaives to the party. What's their damage, by the way? 66 weapon strength, so, well, we're debuffed. Actually, probably about even with the Corngors, but probably more armor piercing due to being two-handers. Out here, Durthu has arrived and made his way into the fray, but we do have both our own Lord and David Hasselhoof and as Gorgons to try to work on Durthu. We've seen the Gorgons, or at least one of the Gorgons, bring down a regular tree man, and while Durthu is no regular tree man, in between the Doom Bull and the big old Gorgon, that should be at least somewhat manageable. Bringing him down to nearly half HP. Well, yeah, 60% HP already. Corngors and the various cowmen continue to fight. Some Knights of the Realm, the Bretonnians generally working together, and I spot some Blade Singers in here as well. I didn't realize they had these in here. Alright, that is a unit we're going to have to be careful and or very wary of, though it looks like just by sheer volume of units, we'll be okay. A very bloody melee as we try to make our way through this choke point, and the enemy knights serving in a similar fashion as our monstrous infantry are serving, providing additional mass to the enemy infantry and working together as each fills each other's gaps in the line, not in a Slaneshi way, but Slaneshi giggle obviously. Anyway, Durthu's down to that half HP. We continue attacking him with Ogre Evolved and with David Hasselhoof, neither of which are particularly badly damaged. We've also managed to loop around the enemies here and get a few units around, which certainly works. The enemy is keeping back a ton of range units all the way back here in like the Citadel portion of their settlement, but that's probably a terrible idea. I don't think it's going to work so well. Anyway, another barricade comes down and we make our way further up the rightmost flank's ramp as well. The other Gorgon is here as well to lead the pack. And we got more Corngors working their way in to ask some very poignant questions. Alrighty, Durthu's still fighting on at about 40% HP, getting those Hawk Riders annoying us. They've been targeting our mage for this entire battle, and one of the chosen Corngors down to 18 units and 300 HP. This unit got very badly mauled by something. Possibly the Blade Singers, possibly Durthu, possibly the Hawk Riders, who knows. But they did well to do that. Yeah, 32 kills. Wait, no, that's Sober Evolved. 10 kills on the Blade Singers, not horrible. Not horrible. How's Durthu? Nearly ready to go down. 3,000 HP left, which is about 15% of his HP pool. Completely surrounded now as the rest of his forces have been destroyed. Gets hit in the back by the Gorgon and looks around, not knowing where to run as his HP continues to drop below 1,000. He also activated a Forbidden Rod right before routing, which means he's also taking additional direct damage from that. And finally, the ancient tree will fall, crushing a few Corngors as he topples. And very nice. And Durthu may be dead, but his settlement is not given up. They are still fighting on, and thus we will make our way forward and rip apart the remaining Glade Guard and whatnot. Pretty big difference in difficulty from when Taurox actually fought this fight. But frankly, we could have just sent Taurox in by himself to kill Durthu and everybody around Durthu. And he wouldn't have had any kind of problem, clearly. Alright, Corngors are in. Nice hit, nice hit. Enemy elves losing their heads as the Corngors swing those dual axes of theirs. And it looks like these units at least will begin to run, but we will just run further. And ooh, wow, look at the Mutastic 12 are down to like 25% of their HP. And yeah, frankly, a lot of our units are quite badly damaged. We saw that unit of Korngors get hurt. Frankly, it looks like our entire army got badly hurt, but at the end of the day, it matters not, because Durthu fell, and so did the Waterfall Palace. Very, very nice. Ooh, alright, a Pyrrhic victory and a very appropriately bloody fight for the final battle for the Khorne army. Very, very nice. In fact, we got a lot more hurt than it looks like here. None of our units, with the exception of the Gorgons because of their regeneration, was above half HP. Everything was heavily, heavily damaged. It's just that since we didn't lose models on a lot of units, or didn't lose a crazy amount of them, we recovered fairly nicely. Nonetheless, I'm happy David Hasselhoof and one of the Gorgons, Ogre Evolved, I believe, brought down Durthu together. I guess we'll loot and raise again to keep using the techs, although I am tempted by that, but nonetheless, raise the Waterfall Palace. Very, very nice. Alright, and how far will you run? Will you run far enough to get to the tree? No, does not look like it. Let us... if we go to the Halls of Anarath, we... Wait. A moment. Yeah, Oak of Ages doesn't reach it, so we could grab that. We could also send Taurox there if we really wanted to. But either way, it's fine. What we are going to do... Well, since that was the last battle for you, David Hasselhoof, you can sit now and guard the Oak of Ages. Taurox can patrol around, or maybe auto-resolve a couple things, but none of that really matters. What matters is we're going to do another cut and get to the next battle. Alrighty, we are set up. I've set up multiple final battles for this particular turn, so it should be easy going with multiple battles at once. Skavenblight, Malagor, we have Tarina Katrin and Morgar here, and lastly, we have Kazrak versus some Tomb Kings. I wasn't originally going to send them in, but, well, it's right there. There's a full stack and a garrison, and it's just too tempting not to. I'm just gonna keep bloating this frickin' episode's length. I really should do these finales in like multi-parters, but you know what? Too late. Ruination stands for you, Malagor. You're heading into Skavenblight. Ikit Claw is there. They've got nukes, and they've got a very, very elite garrison at Skavenblight. Let's see what they've got. Oh, they've got the frickin' warp bomb as well. And you can a warp bomb, eh? Alright, well, let's see what we can do. Alrighty, here we go. Malagor the Dark Omen's final battle, casting down not just human civilizations, but other civilizations as well. They worship the Horned Rat after all, and Malagor will stand no gods to be worshipped, save for the Chaos Gods. He has also destroyed Clan Scab, he has destroyed Clan Eshin, and now he has arrived at Skavenblight itself to show the dominance of the Beastmen, of the Dark Gods, and of course, of our flyers. Gonna drop a vortex and all those defiled crows and down upon the enemy warp lightnings to make sure that they cannot fire on us while we move in, while Malagor leads the various manticores into the battle. Unfortunately, the enemy will counter with that extremely frightening howling warp gale, which is basically the thing that threatens this army more than anything. But on the bright side, because of Shatterstone, we make our way into the the enemy city, including with the Wendigo, our incarnate elemental of beasts, who has returned to do additional damage with its Mortis Engine effect. We've also got a few of the enemy death globes up on top of the walls, or poison wind globadiers rather. No, Death Globe Bombardiers, and we will send 2 of our Manticores to make sure that they rip them apart so that they can't fire down onto our units as they make their way into the breach. Malagor has dropped down upon Ikit with several of the Manticores, though Ikit has called a chieftain to help, so these guys are still having a little bit of trouble, and in fact I believe I peeled Malagor away to join the fray around the gate while the Manticores deal with Ikit. Alright, Flock of Doom coming down, and obviously the Flock of Doom effect from that incarnate elemental of beasts. Too bad we couldn't use too many of them throughout this campaign, or more of them in general throughout the campaign, because it's a pretty darn cool looking unit with some fantastic animations. But as we saw, since the auto-resolve wants this thing dead, and wants its cat and its dog dead, and its deer, I guess, dead, we couldn't afford to just constantly babysit every single one. But hey, we get to see it here, and damn, look at that splash damage coming in, and those glorious animations. Gotta appreciate the unit. And since we haven't seen it a lot, that's why we get to watch it do its animations a few more times. There we go. Do your chest cannon animation, dude. Come on, chest cannon. Or wait, or does it have to attack a bigger model to do chest cannon? It seems to only do the ground roar animation when it's surrounded by enemies. Yeah, I think it might need... Ah. Okay, no, that wasn't it. Okay, well, it can keep fighting, and I'm sure it's doing well. Alrighty, let's check back on the rest of the battle. Our Harpies are finally moving into the fray. It gets down to about half HP, but our Manticores are starting to take damage with one of them. In fact, 2 of them down around half HP as well. We have another Howling Warp Gale coming in, which immediately stops our Defiled Crows and annoys our Manticores and another unit of Harpies. But fortunately, 4, I believe, units of the Harpies have peeled away and are now going to drop down upon enemy range units. We've got slingers here, we've got more death globes or poison wind globadiers, and any other unit that we can find and drop down upon. We should be able to rip apart. 69 melee attack and bleed on these guys. They hit hard. They hit quite hard indeed. Their armor piercing is a little bit lackluster at only 12, but 52 damage and 12, and bleed is pretty darn solid. They're extremely fragile perhaps, but at deleting back lines and enemy range units, they are very, very good. As we've seen time and time again. Alrighty, more enemy units are just rushing around, and ooh, Ikit activates his brass orb on the downcast angels, hitting them pretty hard while they were sort of blobbed up around the same spot. We gotta try to get them the heck out of there so that they don't get sucked in and damaged too badly by that orb. But it does look like we did take quite a bit. On the bright side, we have made our way through the breach into the enemy settlement and have essentially separated our giants into slightly different locations so that they can all actually attack, instead of getting into each other's way, as they no longer really need to protect each other. There we go, Wendigo seems like it's having fun, and all the giants are as well. Dirty Harry has been around with us from the very beginning. Ikit is nearly dead back here as well, with the Manticores still attacking him. And a Flock of Doom all around. Alright, come on, somebody catch him. He is right there. Before one of the Manticores dies, everybody just go after him. Must be really annoying no matter where you turn, where your Doom Wheel tries to escape. There's Manticores everywhere. And there we go. With that, Ikit will finally drop. And wait, he doesn't have the nuke explode. Oh, there it is. I was wondering, where's his nuke exploding animation? For a second I thought that only happens when he's on his Doom player or perhaps on foot, but it does happen on his Doom wheel as well. Anyway, with Ikit gone, it's going to be a lot more problematic for the enemy now. Our Manticores continue laying in to the enemy Plague Monks and Clan Rats, supported by Malagor and those Flocks of Doom. I've really been enjoying watching the Manticores do their thing. And the Giants are done with the breach, so they're joining the fray as well. With the Wendigo leading them, I guess. I mean, it is taller than them. Makes sense to me. Alright, how's that balance of power looking? Actually, it doesn't matter how it's looking, as with that, the battle will actually end. The Harpies continue to destroy the enemy ranged in the background without too much in the way of consequences, as once we were able to kill off Ikit and kill off the enemy caster, there was no more threat of the Howling Warp Gale, and thus they could do whatever they wanted. We'd made our way well through the breach, and Malagor probably got a pretty crazy amount of damage. Yeah, there we go. Very, very nice. Pretty happy with that result. A close victory, but Skaven Blight itself will go down under Dark Wings. Alrighty, very, very nice, and so falls Skaven Blight. A little bit of damage on a lot of our Manticores, and almost all of them below half HP, and one below a quarter HP, though it looks like at least the Kinfeaster, Kinfeaster was just hanging out nearby, waiting for one of its friends to die, so he could eat them all, because he's at nearly full HP. Malagor, 130k damage as usual, pretty darn crazy, and the Wendigo came back only to do 32k damage and do as much damage as all three giants put together. Very nice indeed. In fact, yeah, by far the most damage of everybody. Got to love that Flock of Doom, the inherent Mortis Engine effect, and that these guys have. If only the auto-resolve didn't hate them so darn much. Alrighty, now we can't raise a Herdstone here because there's one nearby, so I guess we'll just have to destroy Skaven Blight for good. But I'm perfectly fine with that. We'll go into raiding stance right here, and this is a... Okay, good. For a second I thought it was a Skaven Plague and got somewhat concerned. You hang out, and we're going to the next battle, which one do we want to do? Let's do the Morgur one. We've been waiting for this one for quite the while. Chasing Tsarina Katrin around, hoping she'll spawn or get an army and actually attack us, and only now, finally, getting there. Pyrrhic victory, medium casualties. The garrison isn't actually anything crazy, but Morgur had quite a lot of playtime throughout this campaign, and, well, he had this specific goal in mind, so damn well he's going to reach it. Alrighty, here we go. Morgur, the one lord that we haven't seen fight in the longest time compared to everybody else. He's been searching through Kislev for a fight worthy of him, and hopefully has finally found it. Man, it's a very slow-moving lightning bolt there, a piercing tower at tier 3. Probably gonna be a long time till we can bring that down. It's kind of cool, though. Alright, well, that's going to start annoying our Tsangors, the Bark Manglers in particular, but they're going to head on in and start working on those Kossars. And of course, so are our piles of Chaos Spawn, and here comes the one Jabberslythe in the army. Now, the special Jabberslythe will be also heralded by a devolve on these enemies, though I'm sure the Jabberslythe can cause them to devolve itself. That's got to be a pretty scary sight, and that's before you see what this thing can do in terms of the way it moves. Oh, nice tail swipe as well. Very, very nice indeed. Alright, well, this is probably a pretty horrific battlefield, but I guess just generally speaking, Morgur's army is a pretty horrific one to fight if you're a mortal fella. And we got plenty more mortals to fight here as well. Ooh, gotta be careful about the Jabberslythe being unsupported now. We've also separated our army into 4 separate bits. We're moving up this ramp, this ramp, this ramp, and all of our centaurs have moved out here. They did manage to catch a light war sled, which they destroyed real quick, especially the great weapon ones. But now that they've done that, they can start moving into the enemy settlement and hit them from the other side. Otherwise, the enemy would be blocking off our choke point. We can't have that, so we'll work on them. I saw Penumbral Pendulum move in. I believe that was in from the enemy as well. I think that's Ulrika casting, unless I'm mistaken. Because Catherine wouldn't have the Lure of Shadows. And a vampire certainly would. Alrighty, looks like we are nearly there, or at least nearly made it through nearly every ramp. At this point, Morgur is still leading the fray and kind of facing off against a snow leopard here, although he has about 1 million chaos spawn to cover him as well. See some ice guard running around in the background, but I'm not sure what the heck they are doing. And did they perhaps want to move into melee and then think better of it? I don't know. And the Centaurs are in the back lines as well, though they are blocking each other a little bit, and the pathing is generally screwy and trying to go around, but there's Kossars on this side as well. And the Jabberslythe has nearly made it through, together with its reinforcements over on this side, the leftmost flank, and are going to loop around to join where Morgur is fighting as well. Serena Catherine has peeled away all the way up here to the rightmost flank instead, where all of the Kossars and defenders have failed, and by the looks of it, nobody will stand against the rest of this force. That said, Serena Catherine will not continue to fight by the looks of it, or tried to run away. Not entirely sure what she's doing now. Nope. Maybe, no? Alright. Alright, balance of power is actually still surprisingly even, considering how many of the enemy we've worked our way through. Well, I guess we'll just have to work our way through a few more. The unit of the Daj's Hearthblades looking fantastic with those glowing greatswords. Though they'll be pretty bloody shortly, but it won't be our blood by the looks of it, as it'll be the blood of the enemies as they get exploded by the piles of Chaos Spawn. And ooh, one of the Chaos Spawn went down, but I think that was one of the Summon Spawn, as Morgur does get 2 units of Summon Spawn, and that's 24 extra Spawn right in the front of the battlefield, both to take hits and to do damage. Looks like Morgur has finally defeated the Snow Leopard, in fact gets the final blow on it. Serena Catherine is running around all the way back there, but the rest of her army has pretty much fallen. Alright, and the Chaos Spawn continue to do good work. Of course, Morgur's Chaos Spawn are pretty darn ridiculous. 82 melee attack and 41 melee defense plus poison. No armor, but on top of that, unbreakable and regeneration. It's a very, very solid unit, especially backed up by a Jabberslythe and Sangors. It's too bad we didn't have time to make an army that had chosen Sangors together with regular Sangors, like a... not a ranged Tzeentch army per se, but a full-on Tzeentch army. But to do that, I originally wanted to find a Tzeentch faction to ally with, to get a few other Tzeentch units in there, so it wouldn't just be the chosen Sangors and Sangors, but alas, that didn't quite work out in terms of acquiring allegiance and allying with other Chaos factions. Alright, finally we caught Serena Catherine, and she's down to about half HP due to the Centaurs. Morgur is slowly making his way up here, but frankly he's on foot and he probably doesn't really need to bother, and just destroy the rest of her army. And Serena Catherine loses another 30% HP down to maybe 15, and a few more hits and we'll finally see her fall. Considering it's taken a while to bring her down, perhaps she should have actually fought in melee a little bit rather than just sitting back. Although the enemy sometimes doesn't know what to do with certain hybrid caster units. Units that perhaps sometimes should fight, it has a tendency to keep back. And same thing with the support units. And the Jabber Slave comes around, but it looks like it jumps over Tsarina Katrin. And she will get brought down by the pile of Centaurs instead. Very nice, and a heroic victory for Morgur as well. Very, very nice considering how long we looked for it. Oh. Oh, it's a waterfall. Okay, that was some kind of magical ice thing. Alrighty, the long road is over at last. Tsarina Katrin lies dead, and Morgur's army is just fine. Lost a couple of the sons of Goros, but otherwise 90 losses pretty darn minimal, and that mostly to magics that hit the Tsangors when they lost their barrier. Very, very nice indeed. Alright, and 175 kills on a Vorbergland Broodmother, and Morgur 32k damage. Looks like Morgur won against everybody except for the caster, but that's pretty normal. Alright, and we can raise a herdstone here because you don't have to move again, it doesn't really matter. And blackened plate gives us a area flame resistance. Huh, that's kind of interesting. In that we never got it before, but anyway. Wins a magic power reserve, armor, and challenges the Dark Gods completion rate / research. Not horrible. Wait, wait. This is from defeating Tsarina Katrin. Where did the other stuff come from? Wait a moment. Trades gained. That was a trade gained, right? And it was this. Oh, that was from defeating Ikit. Yeah, wait, I should have known that. Yeah, that's clearly Ikit's defeat trade. Yeah, alright. The challenges of the Dark Gods thing keeps throwing me. Anyway, that's another final battle complete. Kazrak and... Oh, I mean, you can't move? Actually, you can. Ah, almost had me. You could have moved here before, but, well, I guess we won't have Beastmen ambush stands to rely upon. We will, however, have a little bit of a level up to do. And this guy has pretty much everything that he wants, so I guess he can get Blade Master. Alright, sir. Now let's see how you've mastered that blade. To high deck we go. And what do we have here? Valiant defeat. Ooh, the Ushabti with Great Bow are going to be concerning. Frankly, this army isn't going to be particularly great at taking the walls. I'm almost tempted to end the turn and force them into a field battle so that we can actually maneuver. They will probably attack us if we do. Oh, we can switch back to Ruination. What the heck is going on with that? There's something wonky about the movement, but you know what? Yeah, just stay like this. Let's hope that they don't have another army nearby, which they very well might. But either way, it's probably better than going through the walls and also risking the siege battle, the cinematic siege, not working. I'd rather not risk it. So, I assume that that's that or something. Let's end the turn. Wait. Let's build siege equipment just in case. Who knows? There we go. I'm 99% sure they'll sally out, but why risk it? Right end turn, and they should go ahead and sally. Alright, where are you, followers of Nagash? Yes, sally indeed they will. Perfection. Looks like 2 full stacks and fairly elite ones. The piles of Crypt Horrors and Tomb Scorpions is gonna be a problem. The Ushabti with Great Bow is gonna be a problem. Should be a great fight. Go. Alright. Alrighty, here we go, the Tomb Kings, and I know, I said I was going to make Kazarek's last battle, the one against the vampire counts a few episodes ago, that was absolutely massive, but well, he's not forgotten in the finale. He gave me that puppy dog eye, and well, who could say no to that face? You get pets, Kazarek. Anyway, you get to move in and you get to fight some Tomb Kings, which you haven't done yet. You're going to head directly into the battle once again because we need you to start losing melee combat in order to summon your free units. So let them all hit you, although they're going to have a lot more trouble actually forcing you to lose melee combat when you're on foot rather than when you're on a chariot. The rest of our forces are making our way to the fray. We're going to peel away our chariots who are working together, the Razor Gore chariots led by the 3 War Gores, which are going to move around and try to get at that Screaming Skull catapult while hopefully avoiding the Camarine War Sphinx and the Tomb Scorpions. Kazarek is heading in to try to distract as many units here as he can, though it looks like he's going for the Crypt Cores right now. He should be trying to get to the Ushabti. And over on the right flank, since they're all in stock, we have the Doggos and the Pigos who are going to loop around, hit the enemy in the back, and hopefully knock out and distract any enemy range units. Anyway, that's about it for the setup. Away we go. The Bestigors make their way in and start fighting some Crypt Horrors. And since it's Arcan, it's sort of like a mix of Tomb Kings and Vampire Counts anyway, so in a way, it's close to getting a final battle against the Vampire Count. Taurox Man Rippers and other Bestigors hanging around as well, trying to make their way towards the Ushabti with Great Bow to make sure that they are not able to target us. Plenty of Skeleton Warriors blocking us, however, as the enemy has added plenty of those meat shields. Doggos moving in, and a couple of them have managed to catch out a couple of units of skeleton archers, though it looks like a unit of those Crypt Horrors, 2 units of Crypt Horrors, are going to move to reinforce. That's a lot of resources committed to protecting a couple units of skeleton archers, especially against a couple of units of pestilent hounds. Considering they're fairly cheap and they're very fast and can simply peel away. Out here our chariots have made it into the fray, and unfortunately the idea of avoiding the Tomb Scorpions and the Camarine War Sphinx didn't quite work out, so we're being attacked by all those constructs, and they have blocked us and prevented us from killing that Screaming Skull catapult. Oh well, we're just going to peel away another set of Doggos, the Drakewald Doggos, to take care of that for us. Over on this side, our units of Taurox Manrippers with their anti-large have managed to reach those Ushabti with Great Bow as we desired, and generally speaking this portion of the army is distracting the enemy long enough for the Doggos and Pigos to make their way into the fray and add that much needed poison and bleed to this portion of the battlefield. I'm going to cast a Viscent's Wild Form and a Pan's Impenetrable Pelt on our entire blob of units as we are starting to take damage. Well, I like how this pile of Tomb Guard is getting crushed between two sides of Bestigors. That was a really cool shot, damn. I very much enjoyed that, plus the lighting. It really worked out. Or it really worked for me, is what I was trying to say. Anyway, the balance of power is still about even, or actually still in the enemy's favor, so we do still have to be careful. We've taken quite a lot of damage on several of our units of Bestigors. The bleeding edge is down to about 25% HP, but we got the fast-moving reinforcements coming in to help out. Looks like the Drakewald Doggos has silenced the enemy catapult, and it is completely destroyed now. Piggies are applying their bleed, though how do you wring blood from a bone? I'm not entirely sure. And we still need to get those darn Tomb Scorpions bogged down, as they will keep using that annoying animation, just like the Jabberslights in some ways, so, well, I guess we're getting a taste of our own medicine. Although I guess the Jabberslite does like a sort of flying, jumping, wing flappy thing, whereas the Tomb Scorpion just burrows. burrows through the ground. Anyway, ooh, the Curse of Jeff comes down. Curse of Jeff comes down, forcing all of these units into rampage, but a little bit too late as the enemy army is in very bad shape. The bounce power at about 90% in our favor now, and while the Tomb Scorpions and the Cambrian War Sphinx are still on the field, they begin to crumble away, not having done too much other than distracted our chariots. And sure, they distracted those chariots, but was that really worthwhile? Because I don't think they killed any of them. Or at the very least, they didn't kill any of the Wargors. I don't know about the... No, 4 out of 4 on the Fast and the Furious. Yeah. All that on chariots, and you achieved nothing. Wasted all those constructs of yours. Probably could have killed off a couple of our units of Bestigors if they had applied them there, and probably should have used them to protect the Ushabti with Great Bow rather than the Screaming Skull Catapult. But anyway, with that, the first and only battle against the Tomb Kings is ours, and it will be a heroic victory as well. Getting plenty of these heroic victories in this finale, which I'm pretty happy with as well. Alrighty, very, very nice once again. It's been a while since Khazrak's army has gotten so hurt, but the auto-resolve said valiant defeat, I believe, or I think it said valiant defeat. It was red, whatever it was, and we got a heroic victory instead. Very, very nice. And it was a glorious final battle, as that will be the last of Khazrak's. How'd we do? The Bleeding Edge once again leads the pack of the regular Bestigors at 134 kills. And let's see, we got, well, you know what, since this is the last time we're seeing all of these guys, the Bleeding Edge, Khazrak's Warhooves, simply the best Stigors. We got Fast and Furious, Khazrak's Good Boys, the Foul Tusks, Drakewell Doggos, Bladed Mongrels, Shadowpack, First and Gormost, and you can't milk those. That's our glorious pack. Raise Herdstone one last time here. And what is this garbage? Even Von Leibwitz wants to attack one of our Herdstones. Okay, goodbye, even. Man, free blasted standard. Well, I won't say no to that. And you're gonna do the same. Okay, guys, stop it. Stop. Leave those alone. What are you doing? This is not the time. This is not the time, guys. You're already dead. You can't defeat the Herdstones. These are tier 5 Herdstones now. They're pretty darn good. Alrighty, and I do believe with 8 battles down, we have only 2 more to go. Unless the game cried again now. Got a real concern there for just a second. Alrighty, so 2 more battles. I don't think we're in range, and if we're not, I'll do a... thank you. Oh my lord, all the announcements. Are we in range, is the question. And the answer is alas and no. Alright, that's fine, that's fine. You go here, as soon as he moves, and in fact we'll come back, we'll do the elf fight, and then we'll do the final battle of the campaign. One last cut. Alright, here we are, battle number 9, and it's the High Elves that we've saved for the Slaaneshi. That's what they wanted, and that's what we'll get. Nakari, eat your heart out. Now, we are going to pop you guys into whatever proper stances we decide. I guess it doesn't really matter, but you go here. Are you friends with anybody? No, you High Elves are not friends with anybody. Well, that's your problem. We're not going to ambush, because we don't wanna. We're just gonna straight up declare war, and hopefully they won't run. Alright, don't run. They'll run. Okay, fine. Fine, okay, if they're gonna run, I guess we're going to walk right in there. But they're not at Elftown. There's more stuff at Elftown, but it should still be more difficult here because of the general eliteness of the troops, frankly. We probably won't need all of these guys. We could, in theory, send them after this and just send the Slaaneshi here and just see what they do. Maybe that's what we'll do. Slaaneshi. Pyrrhic victory, you saying? Oh, right. You guys can't, Oh, no, wait. We have no monsters that have Siege Breaker or whatever it is. Well, that's a shame. We actually have to waste another turn like this. Oh, I just made a cut and everything. Game, come on. Huh. I'm just wondering if there's another way to do this. Wait. Is it me, or does it look like if we attack Elf Town, it'll draw out the garrison here? But it's not doing the same thing here, is it? Oh, it is. It is doing the same thing. Oh, they might actually sally out then. I doubt it, but it's a possibility. Huh, it'd be swell if they did. Alrighty, well then you just stay here, sir. And we'll see if we can make that happen, especially since the garrison of Elftown is coming along. I'm actually surprised that if they wouldn't fight directly with all this going on. Alright, let's set up a new technology. Okay, I didn't expect this to take more than 5 seconds. Is there any unit that we can still upgrade and that will be involved in the next 2 fights? I don't think there is. I don't think there is. I guess we'll just get Born to Lead for the extra little bit of aura and leadership, but the rest of this is all not relevant to us over the next 2 turns, so we will skip, including Taurox. Taurox will save you for next battle. Away we go, end turn, and please do sally out. Not going to move anybody else. And if we lose a few things somewhere, we lose a few things. We obviously aren't watching them anymore at this point. All right, come on, elves. And Vlad, okay, would you just stop? Just stop. It's starting to get embarrassing. He really wants Drakenhof back, and Wulfric is back again. Yeah, but we left him alone. We don't really care. And did he just really lose half his army for that? Okay. Settlement. What? Settlement. Oh, they moved to here. Okay, fine. We'll auto-resolve this. And that damaged some of our units. I shouldn't have auto-resolved it, but raise an wait, if we raise the Herdstone, we'll all heal. Raise the Herdstone. I didn't even know that we could raise a Herdstone, and oh, what? What is this? What the heck is going on? Skitice is going to attack. Now, if we decline the... we could fight with the Skaven together. We'll make for a pretty different final battle for the Slaaneshi. I guess we just don't use the other reinforcing then. You know what? I kind of like the idea. I don't think that the Skaven are going to do too much, but it's an interesting thought. I always like the combined sort of battles with multiple factions. I guess this is what we're doing then. Sure, why not? It's a rarity. Alright, I kept looking around for our unit being like, wait, where are we? What's happening? But obviously it's the Skaven that start on the field, and we're gonna be the ones coming in as reinforcements. And now obviously we could have handled this ourselves. We really could have, but once again I wanted to see this. It's a rare enough occurrence. In fact, it certainly doesn't happen every campaign that we even get a single battle where an ally actually helps us out like this. And since it's such a rare occasion, I'd rather make sure to actually not miss it. So we're going to allow the rats to close, and looks like the Plague Claw catapults have made quick work of one of the enemy units of High Elven archers, and the rats are hitting the enemy from 2 separate sides. Interesting. There's a tier 3 magic tower here, and I'm sure it'll kill off a few rats, but otherwise the rats are streaming into the city. Now, though that said, this portion of the city is poorly defended, so I'm sure they'll start losing units once they actually get to a better defended location. Alright, there we go, splitting off now, and ooh, if they can kill those 2 Eagle Claw bolt throwers, that would be just swell. And well, if it isn't the enemy prince on his Star Dragon there. And he's gonna come down and not come down. Oh, the Dragon's Breath just managing to clip the enemy, but missing in the main portion of the enemy formation. That's alright. Nothing that these guys have brought, at least nothing on this side of the map, is really any kind of threat to the dragon. And it can simply drop down and start ripping through all those Skaven. But okay, the elves being on a blood glut will probably play into Slaanesh's hands anyway, so I'm sure we're happy about it. Plus, we're getting some neat shots of the dragon fighting Skaven hordes, and I love seeing this sort of thing. Just like I love playing against and as the vampire counts, I also really enjoy playing against the Skaven, and because of these horde battles with massive piles of enemy units. And seeing it in action here is nice as well. Anyway, our own troops have finally made it onto the field, or at least are moving towards the enemy army. The Skaven have not killed off the Eagle Claw Bolters as they've allowed them to move away, but are spreading throughout the enemy city. In fact, we should be able to beat at least some of them into the fray. Looks like some units of High Elven archers are here, and our chariots are going to trundle forth and be the first into the action. And then, oh my lord, look at them run. Those Slangors, they sure do be pretty darn quick. 89 speed now. Oh, this is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But obviously, considering they're fairly fragile, it does make sense. Move on in and get engaged with every enemy, or engage every enemy rather, that you can find. And if it's just archers to start, that's just fine. Practice your blade work. Quote unquote great sword infantry. Or great sword infantry. Alright, it looks like there are some Lothar and Seaguard here, but even they don't want to face off against the Slaaneshi units, but not to worry, we've found some enemies over on this side as the rest of our Slangors have engaged. We separated them into two, and it works out fairly well by the looks of it. Enemy is going to get hit with the Curse of Anric here, dropping their melee attack by 31. Well, on the armor we don't care about as much because we have massive armor piercing, but their melee attack we definitely do, as the Slangors are fragile and we don't want them hitting us back too hard. Summon a Manticore and send it after the enemy Eagles. Wait, no, these aren't summoned Manticores, I think they're from our garrison, never mind. I got too used to summoning Manticores with the other armies. But anyway, the battle continues as the enemy's pretty big pile of spear-wielding elves try to hold back our Slangors. They got some white lions in here as well with their armor sundering, so that'll make us take even more damage, despite our armor not being that crazy anyway. How are the Skaven doing? Oh, wait, did the dragon effectively rout this portion of the battlefield by itself? 157 kills and 24k damage, pretty impressive. And in fact, our allies are in pretty bad shape and have been pretty much destroyed all over the place. And not to worry though, we got plenty more units where that came from. We have our chariots and our Centaurs over on this side. Still worth it to get that dragon, that shot of the dragon fighting those Skaven climbing up the ramp, in my opinion. Anyway, it looks like the white lions are moving in. We're going to peel away the chariots and the Centaurs from fighting them directly, as that's a little bit dangerous, and fight some Lothar and Seaguard here instead. A massive pile of the Slangors. You can get a Vissen's wild form to make them hit even harder. 74. Weapon strength, and, well, the armor is still garbage at 72, but, well, not garbage, but, considering that's with 42 armor. Oh, but then minus 30 because of the sundered armor from those darn white lions. Yeah, we should be over 100, but alas, we're not. But on the bright side, it's a pretty decent melee for the Slaaneshi, even if they don't have the ability to get around this portion. We were going to try to send our Centaurs and our and our Razor Gore chariots around, but since those other units block them off, that's clearly not going to happen right now. So we're just going to have to work our way through this, though it looks like a lot of the units are blocking each other, which is making it difficult for them to actually hit the enemy. And oh wow, all the enemy range units are trying to go after our Bray Shaman of Beasts, which is probably a good idea, but also rude. Alright, balance of power is at about 70% in our favor, and we're actually going to peel away 4 of our units of Slangors, because this melee is just going to keep on, I was about to say keep on lasting, but actually with that Flock of Doom, it looks like the enemy's having quite the bad time, and they will probably fail shortly. Now we're going to help against these White Lions, because we absolutely needed to, rather than leaving the Centaurs and the Chariots to it. Alright, and Slangors versus White Lions, a fairly interesting matchup. I wonder who has the advantage here. They have armor piercing, we both are damage dealers. And hey, would you look at that? It's a Doom Flare. Are you trying to help or are you running? I can't tell. I genuinely can't. Oh, they're shattered. Okay, fine. Well, our allies didn't help that much other than to entertain us, but that's what Slaanesh wanted in the first place, so I'm unconcerned. And how quickly they go up this ramp. They're basically like cavalry or like vampires running. It's pretty entertaining, but it won't be entertaining for too much longer, alas, as the enemy army is starting to lose units. The prince with his dragon is back, but we're going to send more Slangors at him, while the rest have made their way up the ramp and are going to loop around and go after those enemy archers. Can't have them firing on us anymore. And I guess another good thing about the Slangors is if anybody runs from them, damn well can they chase. They can chase anything down. Who needs doggos when you run faster than doggos or as fast as doggos, depending on the doggo type? Anyway, with the archers up above in near the citadel, Dead will be going after the enemy prince, surrounded with everything we've got. But it looks like he'll shatter rather than continuing to fight with the rest of his army destroyed. A few of the Skaven came back, and it looks like the Plague Claw catapults, at least, it did plenty of work. 144 kills and 87 kills between the two of them. The other Skaven units didn't seem to achieve much, but that's okay. A decisive victory for Clan Septic, but really a decisive victory for Slaanesh. Alright, and there we have it, the High Elves cleared out. Very, very nice, and the Skaven sort of sacrificed themselves for us. I guess even the rats aren't immune to temptation and obsession. Well done to the army of Slaanesh and the, let's see, Goats Gone Wild, Goat Guard, and Goo Goo Gores, Buff Beach Bovines, and, of course, the Bleedles. Hooves, Prancing Ponies, and Party Ponies as well. Alright, fare thee well to Slaanesh, and we have just the one final battle remaining. Did they really sack it instead of occupying it? Huh, interesting. I wonder why. Should have just occupied that instead, but oh well. And hey, we got one of these for the final battle? Well, that's just fantastic. We're not going to take When One Falls, we'll take Beastly Inclination. Weapon strength plus 20% for infantry units. I don't know whether this will actually work for Minotaurs, but, well, that's the only option anyway. Anyway, one final battle to go. Well, let's level up and let's head into it. Okay. All the announcements, game. Thank you. Taurox. And incidentally, between the episodes, while I was cleaning up a few things in Athalor and just auto-resolving garbage, Taurox managed to level up all the way to level 50, so he's pretty much maxed out now. 145 armor, 121 melee attack, with 64 melee defense, massive HP and massive regeneration, 189 charge, and 1.2k weapon strength before any buffs. And he was strong when he was at like half of these stats. I mean, he was insanely strong strong when he was at half of these stats. Now, I don't even know. Let's take the last of these spells here. Will we need Savage Dominion for this? I really, really doubt it. Extremely doubt it. Don't care about stealing magic items. Cooldown could be useful, I suppose, but so could potentially Brace Scream. Let's get Brace Scream. More damage, more magics. You do not get the Amber Spear, however, because I don't care for it. We could get Onslaught, though I'm not 100% sure it actually works here. But I guess, well, give it a try. More weapon strength, why not, right? And a little bit of cooldown reduction, I guess. Wouldn't be amiss. Sure. Alright, what do we have here? Taurox Oldhorn, rather. You have 3 points to spend, good sir. And you have most of your good stuff. So let's get your Thick Skin, let's get your Devastating Charge as well. Because really, they're the only options. You have Thick Skin and Devastating Charge, the exact same thing. And then lastly, Korok. Let me guess. No, you're missing Unnatural Thirst. Forgot it last time, but didn't forget it this time. There we go. There are the levels. Now all we gotta do is not keep you in a stance. Select the Wealth of Man. The Fall of Man. Wait. The Fall of Man. Okay, good. It wasn't here, and I was like, what? Alrighty, let's give this a read and let's get into it. The dark gods are pleased. Mankind is ravaged. They have been taunted, hunted, and broken by the children of chaos. The land is ripe for an even greater invasion, for other followers of the ruinous powers to make their mark, as paltry as it will be compared to the triumphs of the cloven ones. Yet there remains defiance. The armies of Manfilth muster as one, refusing the inevitable. No matter, this is but another opportunity for the Beastmen to prove themselves the most worthy of the Dark Power's servants. Find this gathering of might and ensure the fall of man. Teleport. Wait. Oh, we already checked the enemy details. Yes. Teleport. Don't you crash now, game. Yeah, okay. Oh, it gets me nervous every time. Lewin and Carl together, frankly, they do have some Grail Knights and some Demigryphs, the best that they have. We definitely did not need reinforcements, but the game could actually be giving us a lot more reinforcements than this, potentially. I don't know. I guess we're about to find out. Or we could just send Taurox in to deal with all of this by himself, but... I still want to see the Minotaurs fight to the end. Let's see what we're looking at here. Grand alliance of the Empire in Bretonnia has mustered. It is a desperate act, the dying throes of a race close to extinction, yet a cornered beast is at times the most dangerous. Bretonian cavalry are working in concert with the Empire's artillery and ranked infantry. Caution is advised, for you must strike at the right moment, or be undone by this most disciplined of hosts. Alrighty, here we go. We have arrived at last at the true and final fall of man. I mean, not counting the fall of man built at Altdorf. Taurox is heading in by himself to face off against both Lewin and Carl at the same time. Those are both some very strong lords. I mean, Lewin hits for 1.1k together with 72 melee attack and 220 charge, though actually Taurox actually nearly matches him in charge as well and has like twice as melee attack, although the weapon strengths are, if not similar, reasonably close. But that's Lewin without Carl. Carl is coming in as well, and he hits for 1.1k without Galmaraz buff, and there are other units. What I'm saying is that's a lot of stuff. What I'm not saying is that Taurox is going to struggle with this, because Taurox has not struggled personally with anything in this campaign so far. Lewin sends for his knightly companies to back him up and flies away, but all that will do is leave knights to get killed by Taurox. Carl joins the fray as well, and Taurox will activate his defensive capabilities as soon as Lewin touches down, as he will have to fight them both. There we go. With Brass Body and Apocalyptic Visions up and running, he's going to be super resistant to pretty much everything, and that includes the Grail Knights. The rest of our army is moving in, and we even have reinforcements, but the enemy has various reinforcements as well. Some Knights and Pistoliers and Demigryph Knights moving in from one flank. We've got more units moving in from this flank, various swords and Empire State troops and Hellstorm rocket batteries, though fortunately those aren't going to be nearly as threatening to our various bulls. Our allies, I'm sure, can take care of this, but even if they didn't exist, I'm sure the bulls could handle it. That said, we don't know what other reinforcements are coming, so we'll have to wait and see. Taurox still fighting the two kings, or the king and the emperor, I guess. Or actually, the Royarch and the emperor. Alright, and it looks like they really want to do some cycle charging because they keep peeling away and then re-attempting to charge Taurox, but it's not working so well for him as Lewin is down to about half HP, and while Karl is fine, Taurox is completely fine as well. He just does not care. He didn't care about the Grail Knights, he didn't care about these extremely strong two lords attacking them, and I don't think he's going to start now. The rest of our army have finally made it into the fray. The bully boys begin bullying Knights, Grail and Realm alike, and the various Gorgons, I'm sure, will be pretty instrumental in breaking those Grail Knights down into their constituent parts, you know, to eat them, in case that was unclear. Although, to what degree, I wonder to what degree the regeneration of the Grail Knights would help them if they were being, you know, digested in the middle of a Gorgon's stomach, for example. It's probably not strong to that degree, but who knows? Who knows? These are the questions, people. Anyway, back here, Taurox has found Karl with a little bit of HP remaining, 752. They're still at it, though they won't be at it for much longer as both Deathclaw and Karl drop to the ground. I believe King Lewin actually tried to... yeah, he ran away from Taurox with barely any HP remaining. Taurox is still fine, and he has not used his healing potion. He's got 12,000 HP, and look at that HP, and just go back up. He recovers pretty quickly with that double regen of his. Yeah, very nice. Trollhide really paid off. Too bad we only got one. I guess we could have put it on another lord, but I guess it still was the best on Taurox. Anyway, some very good shots in this particular battle as those Grail Knights working together with Pegasus Knights, which have now arrived onto the field to reinforce the enemy and drop down among the Marauders. But the thing is, Pegasus Knights are fragile, far too fragile to take on Bulgors on their own turf, so they're just going to get ripped apart if they do this. There we go. They land and they die. Once you land, you stay on the ground because you're dead. There we go, Gorbles and all the other Minotaur units. More Pegasus Knights coming in, but that's just more Pegasi to the slaughter. And they're landing in the wooded territories as well. This is where the Beastmen make their home. And I imagine it's probably not super maneuverable for the Pegasi either, especially considering they're a very fast-moving unit. But anyway, how are we doing? The balance of power is at about 90% in our favor, and in fact it looks like with the death of the Grail Knights, the death of the Pegasi, the enemy army will pretty much break. Lewin will shatter rather than die just as Karl did, and will return to where? Bretonia is gone. We've destroyed the entire thing. It's just a pile of woods and herdstones now, so I guess he can run off and drown himself in the lake. Anyway, this is getting dark. I mean, for his failures, guys, come on. Anyway, looks like our friendly little army allowed those Hailstorm rocket batteries to stay on the field. Maybe I should have sent like one of our units of Minotaurs this way, but otherwise, we absolutely cleaned house. I loved all those shots of the Grail Knights and Pegasus Knights landing among our Minotaurs. and the absolute domination of Taurox versus the two kings. Anyway, with that, the fall of man is complete, and the battle is ours. Okay, you're supposed to do that on cue. Last artillery piece, last unit on the field. Or is there like a flagellant on there? No, there is not. Alright. Apparently a close victory, but it really wasn't. I think it counts the damage dealt to our allied army in order to say it's a close victory, but our own army took very little damage whatsoever. And there we go. You know, as soon as all those reinforcements arrived on the field, it all came, I don't know, it all came back to me. The last time I did that battle was in the Khazrak campaign, which was in Total Warhammer 2. I think it was the first one that is, well, the oldest one still available on the channel, or at least one of them, or was Durthu the oldest one, but anyway, yeah, I remember that one was a lot tougher, I felt, with Khazrak, or at least I feel like we took a lot more damage, or it took a lot more damage that time around, but that was a long time ago, many years ago. This time, no problem at all. Taurox took on both King Lewin and Karl Franz at the same time, and basically took no damage. He didn't even need to use his healing potion, which we've had on him for the entire campaign, and I feel like I've used like once or twice. Maybe the healing potion was wasted on Taurox all along, because between the troll hide and his other regeneration, he's just frickin' stoppable. Last time we have done this battle, let's take a look at the names real quick. Gorgon Ramsey, Uruz the Aurochs, the Mooman Group, the Utter Menaces, and the Marauders, or rather, Theseus's Bane, Movers and Shakers, Tehennek, Brass Bulls Chosen, Brazen Bulls, Taurox's Brazen Guard, the Replaceables, I should have been the Irreplaceables, and, oh well, the Butchers of Kalkengard had a name. There we go. There we go. And it looks like the Bloodbrood did the best, huh? 105 kills, or at least out of the units, but in terms of damage, some of them either came close to or even beat the Bloodbrood, and just didn't get as many kills because there were a lot of units that were elite and thus had small unit numbers. Anyway, we can freely sacrifice the captives just by, I don't know, just because we can. And do we even get a reward for this? Just a bunch of money. Alright, just a bunch of money. Well, there you have it, folks, with that. Now, the campaign is done. 10 battles in one episode, and damn if it took me forever, like a day, to make this single episode. Maybe in the future I will separate similar finales, but for now I just hope you enjoyed this one. We've achieved a final battle with every single army that we had, a long victory, all the objectives like the Fall of Man, pretty comprehensive all in all, I would say. And it's not like anything that's left is of any kind of challenge to us. Kislev was rank 2 and they barely had anything. Anyway, thank you guys for sticking with the campaign all the way to the end. More votes and more campaigns ever to come on the channel, so stay tuned. All glory to the algorithm, a fine moo to you, and thanks for watching.